Chalice we light together is a symbol of our faith. It binds us together as one people. Its strength is our shared hope for the world, and our common work is the creation of the beloved community among ourselves and in this world. Let us sing to that good news.
Good morning. My name is Justice, and my pronouns are he and they. Welcome to All Souls Church Unitarian, where all people, people of all races, national origins, creeds, gender identities and expressions, sexual orientations, ages and abilities, where all people are welcome at the table of love and fellowship. We gather in person and online from around the world. I'm joining you from the lovely Baltic state of Lithuania. Wherever you are, you can both engage with and contribute to our shared All Souls community. If you're visiting our sanctuary or broadcast for the first time, or if you still feel new here, we extend to you the warmest of welcomes, and we look forward to getting to know you. I turn your attention to the connection card enclosed in your order of service or posted in the chat. The connection card is our means of staying connected with you. Each week, it will offer new opportunities for us to stay connected with one another. We want to know how you're doing, support your engagement with this community, and make communicating with us easier for you. You can consider the invitations on the card throughout the service, and our ushers will collect them during the offering. We particularly appreciate visitors filling in your mailing address so that we can send you a gift. We're so happy you joined us here today. Today, we honor the legacies of both Indigenous and enslaved peoples at this international crossroads we now call the Capital Region. For generations, Piscataway tribes have been the traditional caretakers of our bioregion. The people of the waters lived along the Anacostia and Potomac rivers. Our church has occupied 3 sites on stolen lands, within unjust systems that continue to benefit from Black and immigrant labor. The heritage of all these ancestors is still here, in the Capital Region and in our congregation. Our commitments to the beloved community and our 8th principle set an intention to educate ourselves and take action to repair harm. As we benefited directly and materially from stolen land and labor, the descendants of this wrong can benefit directly and materially from our time, talent, and treasure. The All Souls Social Justice Ministry is working to show us a path forward. We're so glad you're here today, online and in person. After the service, please join us in the Reeb lobby for coffee and conversation, or stay online to gather with one another. Again, welcome to All Souls.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Hughes Trotter. I'm the Executive Director here at All Souls, and I have the pleasure of being your liturgist this morning and to direct you in doing something new. So we're going to do our beholding a bit differently today. We're going to stand and greet each other, and there will be a video playing on the monitors and online. And when you see the sunflowers, and then when you see the chalice, that means it's time to start moving back towards your seat, because there will be a countdown to get us back to the worship service. So please greet one another and say hello. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you, All Souls. You can continue your conversations after this service. Thank
Take my heart, Lord, will you take my heart as I surrender to your will. I confess you are my righteousness, and until you move me, I'll be still and know that you are God. You hold my world in your hands. You hold my world in your hands. And I am amazed at your love. I am amazed that you love me. You hold my world in your hands. You hold my world in your hands. And I'm not afraid of your love. I am amazed that you love me. Take my life, Lord, will you take my life? You are the reason that I live. I believe you have forgiven me, and by your grace I will forgive and know that you are God, and know that you are God. You hold my world in your hands. You hold my world in your hands. And I am amazed at your love. I am amazed that you loved me. You hold my world in your hands. You hold my world in your hands. And I am amazed. I'm not afraid of your love. Yeah, my world's in your hands. You won't let go of me. You won't let go of me. You won't let go of me. You won't let go. You never let go. You won't let go of me. You won't let go of me. You won't let go of me. You won't let go. You'll never let go. You will take care of me, and you will, yes, you will. You will take care of me. You will take care of me. You will take care. You'll always take care. You won't let go of me. No. You won't let go of me. No. You won't let go of me. You won't let go. You'll never let go. You will take care of me. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You will take care of me. You will take care of me. You will take care. You'll always take care. You hold my world in your hands. You hold my world in your hands. And I am amazed at your love, your unfailing love. I am amazed that you loved me. You hold my world in your hands. You hold
Good morning, All Souls. I'm Reverend Anastasia Zinke. I use she and her pronouns, and I am the developmental minister here. And I want to invite our young friends forward to hear a story and to open up the Wonder Box. I wonder what's in it today. I'm curious what story it might prompt. Who would like to come forward? Friend, would you like to open up the Wonder Box and pull out what's inside? Yeah. What is it? A rainbow. I know a story about a rainbow. Can you hold on to that for me? All right. So there is a story, quite a beloved one, that is probably at least 7,000 years old. And it's a story that has a rainbow in it, but it's a story of a great flood. I wonder if you're already figuring out what this story is about. So this story is found in the Bible, but not only is it beloved to Jews and Christians, it's also a sacred story to Muslims. And the story goes that once upon a time, a long, long time ago, people were incredibly cruel. In fact, there was so much evil on the earth that it broke God's heart again and again. And God was still learning a lot that God didn't understand yet. And so God thought the best way forward was to destroy everything and just start all over again. But God could not destroy what was good. And there was a good family, and the father in that family, his name was Noah. Let's see. Here's Noah. He maybe looks a little bit older than your fathers look. And Noah was told by God that a great flood was coming and that he should build an ark. And Noah began to build this ark day after day, month after month, but that wasn't the only work there was to do. So Noah had to ask those in his family to go out because God said, gather 2 of all the animals and bring them onto the ark. And so the family did. First, they got the local leopards and the birds, and then word spread further, and crocodiles came, and they went on the ark. And elephants, they were a little worried about the weight, but it worked out. The height of the giraffes needed a little adjustment so they could get below deck, but there was space for them too. The zebras and the lions arrived at the same time, which made everyone nervous, but they decided to have entranceways on both sides of the ark, so that was fine. And then after the albatrosses told the North American bald eagles about the news of the ark, they arrived too. And then finally, it began to rain. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain covered everything. And all that they could end up seeing was water everywhere. And the storms rocked the boats, and everyone got seasick. But finally, it stopped raining, and they rested on the calm seas. Day after day, Noah would ask the young dove to go out and see if it could find land. But day after day, it returned empty-beaked, until finally It came with a little olive twig in its beak. And all the animals celebrated because they knew somewhere there was land. And so they sailed and they found an island where they all disembarked in a day of celebration. And God saw how good their journey had been and sealed their journey with the rainbow. May I have the rainbow? With the rainbow as a promise to never destroy life again, because surely we can learn to live together in peace. Now, there are 6 lessons that I want you to take away from this. Can you hold your question? Thank you. So the first lesson, and this is really important. Are you ready? Don't miss the boat. Don't miss the boat. And our boat is not a physical boat. Our boat is the beloved community. The connections and love and support we offer one another. Because when you go through the stormy seas, it's really going to be the beloved community that keeps you afloat. Number 2. We are all in the same boat, and boats can only go in one direction. And we're actually headed towards a shared destination. So if we're going to the same place and we're journeying there together, isn't it time to start getting along now? And that means there's probably not room for any animals, even the elephants, to have a big suite. But we all need to have enough. Number 3 is kind of related to number 2 about being in one boat. Don't let the boat sink. Don't let the boat sink. So if a repair is needed, let's make a repair. If a night captain is needed to steer the ship so it doesn't crash, let's do that, volunteer for that. Number 4, you might have noticed that the ark was built and all the animals were aboard before it started raining. We need to plan ahead. Tomorrow is actually here today, and we need to be building the ship for what is over the horizon. 5, you'll notice all the animals came aboard with a buddy. And buddies are great, but actually communities are better. We need to go with communities, places, and listen to one another, because then we realize it's all about us. We break down our silos and listen, because what we're a part of is so much bigger than any one of us. And number 6, which was actually the favorite point of one of my mentors, Dr. Marian Wright Edelman, was built by amateurs. The Titanic was built by experts. And I'll just say, there is no expert when it comes to beloved community. We have to build that together by listening and making sure that we're there to protect everyone. So I invite you to stand up, and for all of us to look around. Stand up, and all of us look around, because we need a boat big enough to hold all of us, and our folks online, and our community who is far away at this time. It's a big boat, but we can get there together. And so I invite you to think about that as our children follow Michelle and Laura after their classes or return to the pews. Let's sing Sia Hamba. Yes.
Thank you, Reverend Anastasia. I think there were some lessons in there for the adults too. Good morning again, everyone. You may want to, if you've got your order of service in front of you, there were some connection cards in that order of service. You may want to take a moment to pull that out now. And as you hear of an upcoming opportunity, you can express your interest with a check mark in whatever strikes your fancy. You can also share how you are doing and ask for congregational and pastoral care. First, I have something very important to announce. We are welcoming today our very new director of the Jubilee Singers, Mr. Reggie Golden. Welcome. A big shout out for everyone who organized and attended Launch Week. It was a huge success. We would love to hear your thoughts and get your feedback and any takeaways or celebrations that you have after attending Launch Week. There's a link to share out on the launch page of the All Souls website. Next Sunday is Homecoming Sunday, yay! We will begin the new church year a bit differently with a water communion. You're invited to bring a small amount of water with you next Sunday. Homecoming Sunday will be followed by what we are calling a snack luck. The title thanks to Reverend Rob Keithan. Bring your favorite snacks and serving utensils for a snack spread to your right and my left in Pierce Hall after next Sunday's service. There is also an insert in today's order of service about the upcoming work on the courtyard. This is an opportunity to completely redesign the area outside, and the building committee wants your input. Please take a moment to read that insert, and it's both an important update from the building committee and an invitation to submit your ideas for the courtyard and to attend a design session also happening on September 15th. If you're new to All Souls and you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or want to know more about membership, join Reverend Anastasia and Reverend Keithan on Saturday, September 7th for Exploring UU and Path to Membership. It will be from 9 a.m. to 3:30, and if it's an incentive for those of you who are curious, lunch will be served. Registration information is on the All Souls website. A great way to live into our mission and values is by covenanting with fellow members to share our joys and sorrows, beliefs and struggles. Please go to the All Souls website to register to participate in a covenant group. And as we build community with one another, let's lift up the joys and concerns of us all in this space and online. The world is just as we are, both beautiful and broken. There are celebrations and heartaches, joys and disappointments to hold all at once. You are welcome. You are welcome to bring all of them here this morning so that the community of All Souls may care for you all. In the silence that follows, please speak aloud or write into the chat the names you carry on your heart this morning. Today's reading is a poem by M2. It's called Together We Build. It's an ongoing project that never has an end. It's both bricks and mortar, windows and doors. One without the other is like calling walls with no roof a house. One can't always be the strength, nor can the other always be the weak. Both must reach, both must want, so that bricks and mortar can build windows and doors can stand on foundations that made firm from the efforts of two. For one cannot build a friendship alone, because a house without walls cannot be called a home.
Amen. I want to start off with a profound thank you for all of our volunteers and staff who played a role in either organizing or hosting, facilitating Launch Week. If you're here in person or online, can you raise your hand so we could thank you? And why don't we just keep going with that? If you attended something during Launch Week, can you just lift yourself up to get some thanks and appreciation? Thank you. It was such a gift to me to be able to learn more about all the different places of community, all the different groups, all the different people here. And I hope Launch Week was good for you too. And if you didn't attend anything this week, don't worry, you have not missed the boat. There's plenty of opportunities to be rowed out and come aboard. I wanted to share one of the things that I thought was so wonderful at the potluck on Thursday night for all of our communities that are focused on spiritual growth was they did a kind of what we call in organizing, a roll call. So I want to just lift up some of the communities that are here at All Souls that I heard from this week. So if you are part of the Silver Souls, will you raise your hand or stand up or raise your hand online? Welcome, all Silver Souls. And what about the Young Souls? If you're part of the Young Souls here, yeah. I'm starting to see where they cluster in the pews. This is great. If you are a musician, come on, let's recognize you. Yes. I love the little latecomers who are like, okay, me too. What about if you're in our religious education community? A volunteer, volunteer, participant, a family. What about if you are part of our caring network? Thank you. Yes. Kiki was there and was like, represent with power. Right here. And there's, and the knitters. Where are the knitters? Yes. On the far edges. I love it. Here's the thing. There are many places where we find belonging. In these groups that gather together for some purpose that lights up our heart. That somehow is adding through their contributions to the strengthening of our community. And I want to say that is a beautiful place to start from. These communities where we find connection and belonging, a place, a refuge, a community. And I want us to think a little bit more about the community that holds our communities. So there is an All Souls member, Paula Cole-Jones, who in her work as a change management consultant for over 20 years, as a leading voice in our faith, doing the work of establishing the 8th principle, which calls for an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, beloved community. And as one of the members serving on the Article 2 Commission that rewrote our national bylaws to place love at the center of our faith, she began to figure out and work through with a variety of different congregations, what does that change process look like? And the insight that she arrived at was that we needed to become a community of communities. And as someone who was raised here, in these pews and in these classrooms and by this people at All Souls, we were the inspiration for that. So I want us to think about not just the little communities that we belong to, as large as they are in our life, but the whole community that also holds us. And so I want to talk a little bit about Paula Cole-Jones and her notion of a community of communities. And I'm going to draw back in Noah's Ark, because I think it has some lessons for us too. So one of the things that Paula wanted us to understand about being a community of communities was to move away from the concept that we were a church family. And for some, and I use those words sometimes too, a church family, especially around big holiday seasons, where I'm also celebrating holidays with my family at home, but I want to celebrate it with you all as well. But she says it's not the best metaphor for a few reasons. One, it's a very narrow definition of belonging. And she says families often have a hierarchy, an imbalance of power, someone who gets to say what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. In some families, you know where you're supposed to sit at the table and where you don't get to sit. You know who you could bring home and who you probably shouldn't bring home. Some families just haven't figured out how to really love yet. And some families and homes are just not safe. And so when we use that word, for some of us, it is a resonant blessing, and for others of us, it is a warning. And Paula presents to us the idea that the metaphors we use are important. So I want us to go back to the ark. Now let's just think for a moment. Noah was told to build this ark. He told his family, go and spread the word. And I'm sure they went out into the desert and even crossed some seas and went out to invite all the animals that they could find. But I'll tell you, by the time the Arctic terns told the humpback whales and the new and more animals showed up, I think they were flat out astounded. They had no ideas these animals existed, much less what they needed, much less who would be best to cohabitate with whom. Were they ready? No. We're not always ready to really be the beloved community, but we got to lean in and make space and listen and figure it out. We got to be interested and engaged. And that's just even to get everyone on the ark. And then when they're there, especially when those 40 days and nights and rains and storm was happening, was that easy? I don't think any animal was in their comfort zone. And do you know what else happened? They began to probably, have like some of their behaviors start to show themselves. Like, I'm sure some turtles snapped and some hyenas laughed. Thank you for getting my joke. But they got through it. They got through it. And they probably got through it because they organized themselves. I don't know how they organized themselves, because this is a metaphorical journey of imagination, right? But maybe they organized themselves by type of animal. Small mammals, large mammals, predators, herbivores, winged creatures, ones that just didn't want to get trampled, ones that needed more headspace. Maybe they did it by deck. But somehow, I think, for their own needs and noticing the needs of their companions, they began to probably send some representatives up, some people to gather and talk and make decisions and go, it's not going to be easy, but this is probably the way to make it work so we could all make it through this journey together, please Almighty. But I think once they started to get things working, once they learned to really pay attention and know that no one was going to get a good night's sleep if everyone wasn't able to be settled, that things were going to get dangerous if some creature started to get too hungry, once they worked that out, I bet they began to appreciate the time together. I bet they began to say, we have figured out how to be this diverse, complex, complicated, messy, and beautiful community. And the thing that I think helped them, the term that I would use to describe their understandings and their interestedness and their care for one another is one word: covenant. They learned to be in covenant with one another. Paula Cole-Jones says that the thing that connects our communities to our community is covenant. We make covenants within our smaller communities about the way we'll show up together, and we have to figure out how those communities covenant with the whole. And that is our work together. Because I hear there is great passion for the smaller groups that we're in, but there's also been pain and disconnection within those larger whole covenants. And there's a need for repair and care and mutuality. So we're going to go on that journey this year. And in fact, September's theme is covenant. But I want to just share with you a little insight in what that covenant is at its center. Love. The process that Unitarian Universalists went through these past few years to revise our national governing documents, to re-articulate our theology, put love at the center. And love has to be at the center of the covenants too. And not just any love, but we'll get to that. It's a kind of love that I thought was best summed up by the writer and Christian theologian C.S. Lewis in his book, Four Loves. It is a selfless love that is passionately committed to the well-being of others. A selfless love that is passionately committed to the well-being of others. That's the kind of love that we need to bring forward here at All Souls. There's one other story I'll just quickly tell, which is there's a famous quote that I don't know a single Unitarian Universalist minister who hasn't used, and it's about the Transylvanian Unitarian minister Francis David, who famously stood up and said, "We do not need to think alike to love alike." And I did some research, and it turns out we can't actually attribute this to him. Like, we have no evidence that he actually said this thing. But do you know who did? John Wesley. John Wesley, the founder of Methodism. And I'll tell you, when John Wesley was out preaching, do you know who was trying to tear him down? The Unitarians. We were like, oh no, you don't want to go and hear him. He's such an emotional preacher. You want to approach faith with your reasoned sense. You want to bring your judgment and discernment and discretion to church with you. He's going to pull to your heart, and who knows where that will lead you. But he said, we do not need to love, though we cannot think alike, may we not love alike? May we not be of one heart, even though we are not of one opinion? All Souls, may we not be of one heart, though we may not be of one opinion. My dear ones, I'm reminded of the rainbow at the end of the Ark story, and how God went from this place of destruction to this place of promising peace and nonviolence. And I bet what happened between those two appearances was God was paying attention to what was happening on that ark and was inspired and learned from the community of mutuality on that boat. And so when they arrived, they were already the beloved community, just sealed with the blessing. All Souls is also headed to the beloved community, but I believe that we could find it on the journey itself. May it be so, and amen.
Let's return to the connection card I mentioned earlier, which our ushers will collect during the offering. I again invite you to turn your attention to the reflection question on your card. This week, Reverend Anastasia is inviting us to reflect on this question. In what All Souls community do you most find belonging? How can we strengthen connection within our community of communities? As the music plays, you are invited to contemplate and reflect on how you would answer this question. I've been connected to All Souls since I first walked through its doors over 15 years ago. Time sure does fly. I didn't think I was looking for a community like this, especially after leaving one that didn't value me as a whole being, but instead asked me to leave certain integral parts of myself behind. Since that time, I found homes with various communities at All Souls, communities like the Greeters, the Ushers, the Denominational Connections Committee, Roots and Wings, the Board of Trustees, Asian American Pacific Islander Souls, Rainbow Souls, the Worship Associates, or even the crew that sat balcony stage left in the pre-COVID times. These experiences have ebbed and flowed over time, both in terms of length and degree of involvement. In each case, I met new people, learned new things, and grew in terms of my love and commitment to this larger community we call home. Yes, there have been difficult times and awkward and uncomfortable conversations, but I've learned more about the divine by observing different aspects of it in each of you than I ever learned in Sunday school or church the first 2 decades of my life. I've made mistakes in my life, things I'd care not to admit. However, this community gently reminds me of my connection to and responsibility for the wider world. It reminds me to choose the good. And when I tire and become overwhelmed with all that's happening in my life and the world, it reminds me I should choose the good again, and the next day, and the next, until it becomes second nature to me. It's for these reasons I continue to engage with and give to this community, even as my own geographical considerations have changed, and Jason and I spend more time in the Philadelphia area. Today's Share the Plate recipient is La Clínica del Pueblo. For over 40 years, La Clínica del Pueblo has provided primary care, mental health, language access, community health services, and advocacy to increase inclusion and substance use programs for Latino immigrants. Not only are they a longtime partner of All Souls, they're also our neighbor. The clinic is right across 15th Street from the church, and they proudly serve undocumented, uninsured, and underinsured people. Contributions will support community-based programs, including wellness activities, women's reproductive health initiatives, gender-based violence prevention, LGBTQ+ empowerment, and ongoing advocacy for a more just and equitable health system. If you're in the sanctuary, the ushers will be passing the plate for our offering. You can also contribute to All Souls by sending the letters ASCU to 73256. Again, that's ASCU to 73256. If you're online, click the link in the chat, which will direct you to All Souls' online giving platform. Thank you again in advance for your generosity.
We leave this gathered community, but we do not leave each other. We do not leave the connections, our concerns, our desire for each other's well-being. Our service to the world, to this community, to our faith continues. Until we gather again, be well, be kind, be loving, be hopeful. And now I invite you to rise with me to sing our final hymn, Guide My Feet. Dear ones, look across the room, find someone you didn't come in with, and invite them to coffee hour. May you greet each other online as well. Go in peace.